I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 7th, 2015. Israel today marked 1 year since the beginning of Operation Protective Edge, Israel's defensive action against Hamas in Gaza last July. The Knesset marked the anniversary, hearing today from IDF soldiers and reservists wounded during the conflict and the difficulties they face regarding obtaining benefits from the state. They also heard from small business owners in Israel's south who suffered losses during the ongoing Hamas rocket attacks from Gaza. Israeli President Reuven Rivlin and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu both spoke yesterday at a state ceremony on Mount Herzl, honoring the 67 soldiers and officers and 5 civilians who were killed in the conflict. Rivlin warned Palestinians that as long as there is no fire at Israel, there will be no fire at Gaza. Netanyahu issued a warning as well, saying those who try to hurt us, their blood be on their own heads. He also said Israel was keeping a close eye on the situation in the south and would respond if need be, referring to the attacks of an ISIS-linked group on Egyptian authorities in the Sinai. JBS will have special programming tonight to mark the anniversary of the Gaza war. The District Court of Tel Aviv today convicted a Palestinian terrorist for a stabbing attack earlier this year. On January the 21st of this year, Hassan Matrouk of the Arab village of Tulkarem stabbed 12 people on a bus in Tel Aviv. As part of a plea bargain deal, Matrouk is likely to receive 28 years in prison for the attack. The Anti-Defamation League expressed its disappointment at the Israeli government's decision Sunday to reject the conversion reform law. As we reported to you yesterday, the government had approved the legislation last November that sought to allow Orthodox rabbis to create their own conversion courts in Israel, easing the process for tens of thousands of Israelis and their children, many of whom are immigrants from the former Soviet Union. However, with the new coalition in place, the reform was repealed. ADL National Director Abe Foxman called the rejection of the legislation an unfortunate detour in the much-needed effort to achieve full religious inclusivity for all Jewish Israelis and Jews around the world. Foxman said the monopoly held by Israel's Orthodox chief rabbinate over conversions in Israel and the refusal to recognize the, quote, vibrant diversity of mainstream Jewish religious practice was of particular concern to the Jewish community in the United States. And just days after the government overturned the conversion reform law, Israel's religious services minister said that Reform Jews are Jews that have, quote, lost their way. David Azulai told Army Radio this morning, a Reform Jew, from the moment he does not follow Jewish law, I cannot allow myself to say that he is a Jew. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected what he called hurtful remarks by Azulai, saying in a statement released by his office today that Azulai's comments do not reflect the position of the government. Netanyahu said, I have spoken with Minister Azulai to remind him that Israel is a home for all Jews and that as Minister of Religious Affairs, he serves all of Israel's citizens. The American Jewish Committee has launched an initiative this week to combat anti-Semitism. Mayors United Against Anti-Semitism has U.S. mayors calling on their European counterparts to take a stand against the growing phenomenon, in quote, affirming that anti-Semitism is not compatible with fundamental democratic values. U.S. mayors who have already signed on to the initiative include New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, Seattle's Ed Murray, Anise Parker of Houston, Kasim Reed of Atlanta, Tomas Pedro Regalado of Miami, Marty Walsh of Boston, and Seti Warren of Newton, Massachusetts. Warren conceived the initiative together with AJC's Boston regional office. Croatian Jewish film producer Branko Lustig will be donating the Oscar he won for Schindler's List to Yad Vashem, Israel's living memorial to the Holocaust. Lustig, who survived Auschwitz as a child, produced the film, which tells the true story of German industrialist Oskar Schindler, who saved the lives of 1,200 Jews during the Holocaust. Lustig is now 83 and his health is declining. He recently contacted Yad Vashem chairman Avner Shalev, offering to donate the statuette, saying the museum was the appropriate place for it to be housed. Shalev accepted, telling Lustig that there would be a special ceremony for the presentation. The ceremony will take place sometime next month, with Lustig in attendance. Ynet reports that President of Croatia, Kolinda Grabar-Kitarovic, who is a personal friend of Lustig, will also attend. And looking now at our programming for tonight, Tuesday, July the 7th, at 7 o'clock, the start of From the Aleph Bet, the program where you can learn to read and understand Hebrew, hosted by Mark Golub. At 8, on the first anniversary of the Gaza War, President of the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs, Dori Gold, introduces a series of experts who analyze the anti-Israel bias that characterized media reporting of war and reflect on the legal implications for Israel on the report on the Gaza War. At 9 o'clock, Mark Golub speaks to Rabbi of Efrat Shlomo Riskin about the Gaza conflict, and at 10, a replay of the new JBS series live at 5. And coming up right after this newscast tonight in the news, where Mark Golub talks to the Jerusalem Post's Issy Liebler about the growing scandal regarding misappropriation of funds in the Claims Conference, the organization created to seek retribution of funds from Germany for Holocaust survivors and their families. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, July the 7th, 2015. I'm Teisha Bader.